Ready to go?
Okay, yes, we're ready to go, Paul. All right, welcome everyone to AME's first 2-second Leaders Roundtable. This is the first of a series of roundtables that we're going to do, where we're going to have 3 resident leaders, and we're going to choose some great guests every month to come in and answer your questions. So we already have some questions from people who have sent them to us earlier. But if you do have a question, please put them into the chat box, not the Q&A box. Put them into the chat box. We'll see your name and put the city that you're from and also the country that you're in, along with your question. And we'll do our best to get through them. I'm going to hand over now to our moderator today, which is Paul Akers. You all know Paul. Paul's going to explain a little bit of how we're going to run this roundtable. And let's get going, Paul.
Okay, so first of all, this was Bernard's idea. Bernard is from down in Australia. And
New Zealand.
Oh God. Oh, Bernard.
That's a swear word, Paul. Paul's only had 3 hours sleep, guys.
It's 3 in the morning for you guys. Okay. So I'm sorry, Bernard. I knew that.
It's fine. I was joking. It's all good.
And Bernard had a great idea. He said, let's do a roundtable where we all get together and discuss the issues that are out there. And so I thought it was brilliant. Got with Richard. Richard did all the background work and putting this together. So let's just get into it right away. So the idea is that Bernard and myself and Richard are always going to be here. And then we have 3 guests that are always going to be coming on and giving their opinion. These are all lean leaders who have done a great job in the lean community out there. And so we want to get their opinion. So let's do it. Richard, first question.
Okay, and don't forget, we're going to have Alex with us every month as well. So,
Alex, I'm sorry, Alex. Sorry, yeah. Alex. My brain.
And I'm not from Australia.
Okay,
sorry.
Our first question is from Jack in Kansas City in the USA. Here's the question, team. When there is an andon stop for an improvement, what do you recommend coaching as the path forward when the stoppage time needed for the improvement is found to be too long? How do you determine what is too long, and how do you coach this without discouraging continuous improvement?
Good question. Jack, go for it, Jack. You're up.
Well, I tend to say run the experiment, try it in a very basic form, small as possible. So if they want to say make a big trolley type shelf to move product around, I'll say let's just find what we have and quickly just try it, with string and tape and cardboard.
Okay, good answer. Phil, what do you think?
We would, depending on, it all depends, but we would probably break it down on big projects, and it might take us, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or even several months to do it. And we just tend to go like our big Kaizen events have taken a long time. So we still need to commit to giving a product to the customer. If it was something urgent that was like a quality or something like that, then we would have to stop and fix it. But if it was just a general improvement, where we're looking for long-term growth, we would just break it down and do that. And then we might increase our improvement time a little bit if it's something with priority, but we would just focus on that.
Excellent. Very good answer. Okay, Alex.
I think if you have a andon or not, or you have a improvement to do that is bigger or smaller, the most important is that you have that culture of stopping. So if they're already stopping to fix a problem, it doesn't matter if you can fix it there or not. You will figure that out as you have to move on and maybe reschedule. But what you want is the people, they want to stop and have that authority to say, hey guys, I need help. I need to fix this. And it starts a conversation.
Okay, good. Okay, Bernard from Australia.
Get out, Paul. Go back to bed. Okay, awesome answers. I was going to say well done for starting to create a stop culture. That's the first thing. It's really hard to create a stop culture. And for us, if someone pulls the cord, stops the line, it's time is of the essence, but at the same time, if you try and rush someone through a temporary fix and the product quality is still not working, then you're sending a really bad message to your team. So you've got to stop the line for as long as it takes to build in quality. And that's really, really, really critical. Otherwise, you're going to send a really bad message to your team. So that'll be my suggestion, is that as soon as you start to build a stop culture, if you start to push people, like you build a stop culture, you've got to be there to support them like hugely as a leader. You have to be on the gemba to support them and fix it. If you've got your engineer there, he's fixing the problem, and you guys have got to fix that issue until it's fixed, because otherwise you're not building in quality, right? Which is one of the fundamental principles of lean. I could go on about that, Paul, but I don't want to go on too long.
Okay, well, first of all, I love the format of what's happening already, because I think we've got a lot of different opinions really quickly. So well done, everyone. Let's go next question, Richard.
Okay, this is from Putra in Toronto, Canada. Think back to the early days of your lean implementation and the employee that took the most amount of effort to buy into lean. What was the resistance they had with lean, and how did you overcome it?
Okay, and first of all, let me apologize. I didn't introduce Jack. I think most people know Jack and most people know Phil. They're very active in our lean community. So I apologize, you guys. These are all, you'll get to know all these guys sooner or later. So, Jack?
Yeah, so early days, the biggest question was how we can't stop work to make an improvement. And the way we got around it was teaching training consistently. And we had a fantastic image which shows some guys pulling a cart with square wheels. And the caption was, we don't have no time to improve. So it's just breaking through and training.
Okay.
That is always, if you truly want to eliminate waste, to make your job easier.
Phil?
For me, it was just looking for opportunities where you can see the struggle and you can slowly introduce that. So one of my challenges has taken years, and progressively I will find an opportunity. Well, actually, here I'll show you what we do and how this could solve the problem and get rid of it. And then the real buy-in really came was with the Learning Club. And once we started doing the Learning Club, then it was getting really, I guess, an understanding, and then
deeper understanding.
Yeah, and then that then built on to including more morning meetings and go from there. But that was with one senior leader, and if we don't get the leadership involved, it all falls over. And it was so finding an opportunity for catalyst where, hey, here's an opportunity, and this is how we've done it in the other company, and just again the Learning Club with the teaching and training.
Excellent. Yeah, Alex.
I have to say that the most challenging was with the senior team members, wherever we've implemented 2-second lean. And that's very simple, because they have seen many initiatives come back and forth. And so in their eyes is, well, this is a flavor of the month, let it pass. So they keep waiting. But I think if you have consistency and you continue doing what you're doing, at the end, they give up, let's say, and they are in the system. They're just afraid that it might be the flavor of the month. But after that, they move on.
Wow. Bernard.
That's good. Could you repeat the question quickly, Richard? I missed the first part of it. Just cut out.
Yep. Think back to the early days of your lean implementation and the employee that took the most amount of effort to buy into lean. What was the resistance they had with lean, and how did you overcome it?
Okay, so we if you've read about our lean journey, we started in a time of need, a big crisis in the business, and it was a catalyst or a turning point. And so I started reading the book, and then as soon as I started reading it, we started implementing. So we started with the morning meeting straight away. Like we reignited that because we'd let that discipline go, changed the agenda, sort of following some of the tips in 2-second lean, the book. Thanks, Paul. And then you got to make sure you get some sort of advocates around you to go and have one-on-one conversations to say, hey, for example, in our Wetcast factory next door, Rona's a great leader, but he knew nothing about lean. I was like, Rona, you got to read this book, you got to listen to it. So I gave him a copy, made sure he was straight into that. And then we started getting on the YouTube channel of Paul. So all of what you guys say is absolutely correct. It's teaching and training, and it has to be daily, can't be weekly. But yeah, so I guess there's lots of ways we can answer that question, but making sure you pull someone aside and you've got to have an advocate that's going to help you out, and then keep spreading the message, and then start rotating the morning meeting leadership as soon as you can. We did that in the first week. We just did it straight away, and straight away it puts people on their mettle, puts them on the spot, and they have to start growing and learning. And then, of course, every morning meeting, we're watching a video of Paul and his team making improvements. So we're seeing improvements in action. And then we're going out onto the shop floor, the factory floor, and starting to make improvements. But as a leader in the early days, you have to be very, very hands-on. I don't know if that answers the question.
Okay.
Very
good,
hands-on.
Good. No, absolutely. Richard, next question.
Next question is from Kelly. Kelly says, I'm very involved in the day-to-day of my business and feel like I don't have the time I would like to develop a lean culture as fast as I would like. How have you guys worked your way out of the day-to-day so you can focus more on building your culture?
Speed is not you'll learn quickly that it takes time. 5 years in, and I still think like I'm not even started yet. So it's a slow moving thing. Just get on with it.
Okay, Phil.
Just start. I think that's the first thing. For me, is starting with the morning meetings and start brief. So I think one of the things I saw initially is you watch all of the lean companies where they have these big grandiose morning meetings and it's all that side of things, and it puts you off from starting. The main thing is start small, be very consistent. And as Bernard said, you've got to do it every day. It can't be something that you do, but it's like exercise. Going for a walk once a week is no good, but if you go for a walk every single day, you'll progressively get the benefit from it.
Absolutely. I'm going to answer that question real quickly because I think it's something I've been thinking about. And that is the answer, in my opinion, is you have a choice as a leader. You can manage chaos or incompetence, or you could stop, develop a culture, and enjoy competence. It's that simple in my mind. Go ahead, Alex.
I had a hard time on this because our culture was a lot of meetings to try to figure out the problems. And when you understand you got to be out there, you work your way into it. So I started blocking like half an hour to be out in the shop floor, then an hour, then 2 hours a day until I was able to be at 3-4 hours a day, or half of the time in the morning, half of the time in the evening. But that's it's gradual. There's no good formula. You have to do it. It's like everyone else said, start with the restroom. Don't forget the restroom, by the way. Start with the restroom. It takes you 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, whatever it takes you. And then the morning meeting, and then just walk your shop floors, talk to people, and you'll figure you will solve so many problems in the shop floor. You won't need meetings.
Yeah, exactly. Good. Bernard.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so choose your hard is what I say, because it's going to be hard if you leave it the way it is, and it's going to get harder. Whereas it's going to be hard to start a lean culture, but life's going to get easier. So I always say, if you do the hard things right now, like going to the gym, working out for 30 minutes a day, do the hard things, life gets easier. If you take the easier route out, which is carrying on clearing your emails instead of doing that workout, life gets harder. Right. So it's really simple. It's a simple choice. And it doesn't take money. It doesn't take all it takes is courage. So I'm going to say to whoever this person is, sorry, Paul. Yes, have some courage, jump in, start the morning meeting, even start with 5 to 10 minutes, start really simple, just go boots and all, start rotating that leadership. But that morning meeting is everything. You've got to start with that. And straight away, you'll start to see benefits you'll start saving time on communication. You'll be training people together. People are learning together, solving problems together. You've got to create a culture of blame the process, not the person, because that's one of the biggest problems I see in every business is people are blaming the person when something goes wrong, and you never get a culture of transparency. So the faster you can get trust into your business, the faster you can grow and move ahead and start to make improvements. It's absolutely critical. I know when you look at these AME tours that we're all doing, it kind of looks amazing. It looks too easy, but behind the curtains, and you go back, 5-6 years in our business, and I just went from the office and literally transferred 80% of my time to the factory floor, and I just was whatever I was doing, I was still talking to customers, but I was on the factory floor. I was on the broom. I was just starting with an absolute chaos and just getting hands. I was coming home covered in crap. You know, it's got to get in boots and all, figure out what the hell is going on in your business right now. And if you get on the floor, just force yourself, shift your desk into the middle of the warehouse or the factory. Just get out of the office, get in amongst the people, and away you go. Sorry, Paul.
Brilliant.
That is a killer answer. I love it. Okay, Bernard, we're going to start with you this time. We're going to rotate back the other direction. Okay, go ahead, Richard.
Okay, this is from Mel in Aguascalientes in Mexico. When continuous improvement program starts in the company where we are looking for a full engagement of the people, what are the best indicators to measure the effectiveness of the program?
Oh, interesting.
Paul always says you measure a good culture with smiles, and I absolutely agree. So, you know, in our company, going around and just seeing people smile, and the best way, again, I mean, you can do things like employee engagement surveys. We do them every month to get the pulse check, which is an anonymous survey based on 20 world-class questions. If you want that, yell out to me and I'll give it to you. That's really powerful because it gives you an engagement score of your people, and you can measure that, and you can start from today, which it might be horrific, and then you can benchmark it and away you go. But in the morning meeting is everything, because you can see people smiling, you get people engaged, and we have a rule in our morning meetings that if someone hasn't spoken, you've got to bring them into the meeting. You know, we have smaller groups in our morning meetings because we're spread across different locations, so we might have a maximum of 15 in one morning meeting. And I know some of you hold morning meetings with 50 people in them, so you can't get everyone to speak. But so we go through our agenda, and from that agenda, we'll pull out, we'll make sure everyone has a turn to say something, and then rotating the leadership. So you'll see as they run a morning meeting, you're going to see straight away whether it makes it really obvious whether they're growing and learning and getting ahead, or whether they are trying to opt out of the company, because they'll try and resist. That's my thoughts.
Alex.
You got like Bernard says on the morning meeting, but not only. I would say the restroom. I learned this in FastCap is a thermometer to see if your culture is good. If you cannot control a 10 by 10 feet little room, that's what's going on in your shop. And so if they're not improving the restroom or your lunchroom, if you're not looking at, they're respecting where the damn toilet paper is, if there's no Kanban card, all these things are like a temperature measure. But also, like you could tell in your videos if you have whatever chat in your phone. I'll see who is participating, who's not, and you can tell the level of improvements and what are they struggling with. And the Gamba walks, you can tell who's not engaged. It's so simple to point it out.
Excellent, Alex. Phil.
Yeah, pretty much. I think two things for me that we do, and Alex and Bernard to cover them, but both, is just looking at the WhatsApp activity in our improvement group, and you'll see the sort of improvements. And so it doesn't matter if the improvements are small, we're just looking at, are they actually growing? So, a person who might not be what we would say really engaged is just labeling a pen, but if he starts from labeling a pen and then reorganizing things and is growing. And then the other thing with our climate survey, we call it a climate survey that we got off another company. We have pictures of emojis of all the different faces, and we get people to circle those, and we just, we can start to see a little bit of a trend. So people won't say, oh, I'm feeling great or whatever, but you can start to see, oh, hold on, you circled, you look stressed, let's talk to us about that. So that's one tool that we've used.
Excellent, Phil. Thank you. Jack.
For me, it's simple. I'm always out on the shop floor. So just speaking with people, is your job becoming easier? Are you facing struggle? And they let me know straight away. So I just keep it very simple.
Excellent. Awesome. Excellent. You guys are awesome. Okay, Richard, next question.
Okay, next question is from Chris from Kansas City. What is the one thing you would do to start lean? We're having issues to get traction.
Okay. Let's go Jack. Let's actually go Alex first and then go that way. Alex and then Bernard.
Okay, so you need to definitely have your top management engaged if you want to deploy, if you want to extend that culture. But if you don't, which could be the case, you need to work in your own area of, let's say, of control. And by doing an example, you could probably most likely move others to want that. So start where you can. Start where you can in your area.
Alex, I'm going to just do a follow-up question with you real quick. So you say you need to get the management, you need to get the top leadership engaged. How do you do that real quick?
You need to explain them what 2-second lean is. It's not their duty to understand 2-second lean, right? We need to explain how that works, what is the benefit, and so on. So in a big organization, you need to do a lot of that kind of explanation, what you're trying to achieve with that. What are the reaches
Does
of
that look
2-second
like,
lean?
does that look like morning meeting? Does that look like a weekly
That
meeting
looks
with your management team? What does it look like?
the best thing is to bring him into your shop where you've implemented in your area, and that you can show an excellent
Okay.
example,
Okay, good. Bernard.
right?
Bernard.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep repeating the same answer for a lot of these questions as the morning meeting. Like you got to get that drumbeat going on, because if you don't get that, everything's
Okay.
going to fall over. And I had a guy the other day that said, "Oh, my morning meeting's not working. It's turned into a whinge fest. So we're doing it once a week." And I said, "Your problem is your agenda. You're giving up. You know, you can't give up. That's the main thing. You cannot give up, because if you give up, you're going to miss out on the real juice of life. Honestly, like you're throwing away a life that's just going to get better and better and better. Less drama, less stress, less hassle, less firefighting, less hours at work. Like you got to make that choice, as Paul says.
Completely agree.
So the morning meeting, and keep improving the agenda. If it's not working, just keep improving it. Like, the definition of an insanity is doing the same things tomorrow and expecting, a better result.
Okay, awesome, Phil.
Okay, there's three things. I call it the fire triangle, and I talked to Alex about this. So we've got to give the guys the tools, we've got to give the guys the time, and we've got to give the guys the training. And
Nice.
without those three things, it's just like fire, oxygen, fuel, and heat. Your lean journey won't take off. So for me, and then the only other thing I would add to that is when I first started out, I hadn't heard of about lean or 2-second lean, and I was so impatient to get started that I hadn't started with myself, and I hadn't understood really what it was. So I would take a little bit extra time and get the leadership team on board and just say, "Hey guys, this is a long-term journey. We're not going to do this in 1 month."
Yep.
And start with the learning club. Is a great place to start.
I love it. I love it. Great answer.
All those three things, Phil. The
Yep.
triangle, tools, training, and what?
Yeah, I thought
Tools.
that was good too. Bernard,
So the tools, the time, and the training.
Yeah, cool. And you call it the fire triangle or something?
Yep. Yeah, I've got a picture of it, like the fire triangle you get for lighting the fire.
Love it. Thanks.
Beautiful.
Brilliant. I'm going to use it.
You guys. Jack.
Yeah, so for me, I think start very small baby steps, but the first question is, are you engaged fully yourself? You need to be a lean maniac, improvement, waste reducing machine before you even try and influence everything. Get your team on board. You need to be
Great answers. I mean, I can't imagine people not being helped by listening to what your answers are. It's just,
Yes, brilliant.
I get a
Love it.
smile on my face because it's all so absolutely accurate. Okay, next question.
Next question is from Marie. How do you handle an individual that resolutely refuses to run the morning meeting? We have offered for one of us to team up with him, but he still doesn't want to.
Okay, Jack. Bernard, you go first.
Okay, read Improvement Starts with I. It's a great book. So change the people or change the people. So depends how long you want to put up with it. So we are very patient and we'll teach and train and teach and train and teach and train. But here's a tip for you. When you're hiring new people, make sure you're very clear on all the things that are going to happen from day one. So then you've got no problems, right? If you are, however, launching I understand this question might be coming from someone who's just launching this and you've already got 30, 50, 100, 1,000 staff. That's a bit harder, but you're going to have to really get that one-on-one meeting. Here's the thing. When you need to make a people change, you need to act fast. You can't muck around because things just get worse and worse really quickly. And you think about culture as a bucket of water. It only takes one spot of milk or drop of milk in a bucket to cloud that whole bucket, okay? You've got to think about your culture like that. Really important. So this person, you need to get one-on-one and say, listen, you're setting a really bad example for the team. You're putting me in a really tight spot because we expect everyone to run this meeting. You have to have a very candid conversation and say, look, do you want to be here or not? Because if you do want to stay here And I understand there's employment laws, and this makes it tricky. New Zealand's really hard with employment law. You have to be very careful not to get a personal grievance claim. It can cost you $20,000. So you have to be, but you still can be candid and say, look, we want to keep you. You understand our mission and our vision and our values. And you put it back on them. You say, how do you think this lines up with our mission? Or how do you think this lines up with core value, embrace and drive change, or whatever your core values are. So make sure you've got a clear set of values. Make sure you're hiring people with all these expectations very clear up front. But if you're starting like in the middle of this, you are going to lose maybe 30% of your people. I've seen this happen so many times, but that's a great thing. And you'll lose some of the people you thought were the most important people. Just don't compromise.
Okay, perfect answer. Go ahead, Alex.
I think I would recommend to talk to that person separately to understand fully what's holding it back. I've had cases where some people do not know English and have hard time speaking English. So I will stand right next to them and help them out. As soon as I see a little glint, I step in and help them. So I would do that. Other is they didn't feel comfortable with computers. So we got rid of the PowerPoint and we have another format where it's a collaborative of all the support teams to do the morning meeting, and they just have to kind of read it and explain the terms. And you just got to attack what's holding them up. What is it? And it really helps if you're next to him. If he's just afraid, just stand next to the person, and we're going to do this together.
Perfect. Phil.
Love it.
Yeah, I think it comes down to, as Alex sort of said, understanding, what it is. And I think a lot of this comes into fear. And what we don't realize is that everything we're going through is change. And when we start implementing what we're doing, and, definitely for my business, I was looking for radical change. It's really hard. It really is.
Yeah.
And so people need support and encouragement. And so it's just, and they would, everyone has this ego, and no one wants to look bad when they get up and things like that. And so we've really got to have that environment where there's no fear. And how do we support someone? So as one of the guys said earlier, if they're not good with technology, how can you look for the little opportunity? Hey, Gary, can you give me a hand, do such and such? Or John, can you give me a hand, do such and such while I'm doing the morning meeting? And then you're not forcing them to do it. We're just using this concept of pull. If we push someone, they're going to push back. The natural reaction is always the equal and opposite force. So we've just got to try and, but ultimately, and, as Bernard says, this is as we are as a company. We're here to help you, but do those conversations in private.
Absolutely.
Jack.
Yeah, so for us, clear communication, what's required, but then also patience. Like we had a guy, 2 years it took for us to gently coach, persuade, and then all of a sudden one day he said, I want to do it, and that was after a month of coaching. So for us, we're very patient and gentle with that approach, not too direct.
Okay. Very good. Okay, next question. Richard, let's talk about this. So we're about a half hour into it. What do you think, Richard? What time wise?
Oh, we're doing pretty good. You know what? We said we were going to allow 60 minutes for this, so this is going really good, Paul.
I'm blown away. I'm blown away with the quality of the answers. The engagement is very good. Let's keep rapid fire, everyone. Really quick.
Right. So this is Kevin from Anglo Windows in Cape Town, South Africa.
Okay.
He says, we have 5 different African language barriers and also very limited education to zero education. And how would you start your morning meetings? We've just started reading 2 Second Lean book together, and we're just going very slow. Good question.
Bernard?
I love that. You know what? In our factories, I can totally relate to that. We've got people that have, hardly done their schoolwork, hardly done school, had terrible upbringings or hardly an upbringing at all. And we bring them in and they think they're losers or they think they're hopeless. And this is the whole beauty of Lean is it's a human transformation system, right? And you lift them up. So people like that are wonderful material to work with because they've still got this incredible miracle, the brain, right? They've got this incredible gift. So it's your job, to be their dad or their mom or their teacher, their coach, their mentor. And that's the responsibility of you as a leader and a lean maniac is to, you kind of like what I said before is on that totally different question, change the people or change the people. Yes, there's a limit at some point, but at first, as Jack and Phil and Alex were saying, there's that patience to work with them. And in the morning meetings, ours started really simply, really simply, because the guys had no clue of some of the words we were using. So we had to just really dumb it down and just show more videos, right? Show more videos of actual improvements being made. Really powerful, and just gradually lead those sorts of people through it. So it's doable.
Okay, very good, Alex.
I'll give you some examples. Is we had a lot of Vietnamese and they didn't speak very well English and Hispanic. So we had someone that knew Vietnamese translate with little earphones, and also for the ones in Spanish, I would do it. And you just find creative ways to integrate them.
Nice.
The key, I think, is
Cool.
just have them feel valued and that their participation is important. You'll find ways, and they know the ways. They'll come up with ideas. Remember, the people on the shop floor have the answers to all their problems. We just need to listen to them.
Perfect, Alex. Phil.
Yeah, can't speak from experience, but I would just come back to a core value of respect for people. And so just put yourself in their situation and just say, you know, how would you feel if you were working in Japan or somewhere like that? And you've got this intelligence, and how do you communicate? And so I think Tom Hughes in his book talked about when he started one of his transformations, he was translating all the slides into different languages so that people can do that. So keep it really simple. And how can you embrace the diversity and the people in there? And so, you know, we're in New Zealand, you know, English is the main language. However, we've got people from all around the world working in the companies. So why not put Vietnamese on your slides?
Good. Love it. Jack.
Yeah, I think those are all great answers, but also I think you could do like visual control, color code. You could do live demonstrations of eliminating waste on the shop floor. Just visually show them in real life what's right.
Okay, good.
Brilliant.
Very cool. Very good answers. Go ahead. The next one, Richard.
Next question is, this is Rob from Traverse City, Michigan. My question is, once there is an improvement culture established, what metrics do you ensure your team is connected with to help orient the improvement culture? Do you prefer more local, departmental, individual metrics, team-oriented metrics, quality metrics versus efficiency? I'd like to balance educating and orienting the team with letting them self-start with the right information and get a collaboration team to support you. Long question, but if you want me to repeat it, I will.
No, I think I get what he's saying. You know, I'm gonna chime in here real quick. Don't get too technical on this whole thing. I mean, there should be a bonfire. You know, you ever put too much gasoline on a fire and it blows up, and you know, you're just kind of like, if you're doing this right, it should be pretty obvious what's going on. You won't need a lot of metrics in my mind, but that's my answer. Go ahead, Bernard.
No, it's a great question. There's a bit to unpack there, but I'll just try and answer it as simply as I can. Yes, we have metrics, and we have a daily report that goes out. So that's one thing I'd encourage every company to do. Is right now, if you don't send out a daily report which has some simple KPIs from each department, then again you're missing out on a big thing, because part of lean is right, or a big foundation of lean is you're treating people with a deep respect for people and a deep respect for resources, right? Which is what Paul teaches us in Banish Sloppiness. And then from there, you're treating them like owners, right? Because you want them to act like an owner, right? That's what we want in our businesses, because a company of owners will outperform a company of employees every single day of the week. So what you want to do is share some critical numbers with them. They're not going to understand them all at first, but that's again the morning meeting. Each morning meeting, you're looking at the daily report and going, here's the wet cast department, here's the dry cast department. You know, that one's red, that one's green. Let's talk about the reds. Why was it red? And they start learning first about their own department. That's the most important thing. It might be, you might have a quality metric, and you might have a improvement metric, might be a number of improvements, or it might be, you might be focusing on SOPs this week, or I don't know, whatever you want to do. But it is good. I believe it's really good to have some targets and be measuring those and making sure you're sharing those with the people so they start to understand business, because that's your job, growing people.
Right. So having said that, Bernard gave a great answer there. I'm going to rephrase my answer. We have KPIs. I wasn't thinking clearly. Every morning, our morning meeting, we're measuring whether or not every department's on time and the defects that are being created in every department. That's real time every day in the morning meeting. Go ahead.
Brilliant.
Alex.
Yep.
So just a little, I was caught up in metrics, and the best metric is going out there and seeing, you'll find out if there's a big difference in your shop by walking.
Yeah.
But there is one tool that really helped me, and I would say I would follow really close, is we put QR codes in the shop, and you scan it with your phone, and you put a ticket. The ticket could be maintenance, could be an improvement, could be a safety issue. And so we would track that, and we'd have hundreds or thousands of these. And we assigned someone that could go help and do this improvement.
Alex,
I
I
could-
don't understand. Start over. Explain, what are you doing now? What are
So
you
we
doing?
have a QR code on the shop floor, throughout the shop floor. And with the phone, it's an app with Smartsheet. It's the software that we use, but
Okay,
there's
got
many
it.
out there to capture some kind of information. So you can scan the QR code and you put up a ticket. Imagine that you want to improve something and you need something, you need a material, you need a welder, you need some kind of help, or you see a safety issue that you need to address, but it's not up to you or you cannot do.
So the
So
QR code simply brings up the ability to say a ticket.
to do a ticket, and it goes into, let's say, a big spreadsheet, and we can monitor and go
Got
and
it.
help that person. So
Got
we
it.
can,
Got it.
so from
Cool.
having 10 improvements, we have thousands, and we could say,
Cool.
in what area, what kind, just on maintenance tickets.
Very cool.
We used to have so many tickets, 80% were emergency tickets that they needed help with. Now it's 80% improvement tickets.
Lovely.
Machines are working, but they are asking, we can improve this if we had an electronic
that
guy
much
that
better.
could connect, right? So that's
mind-boggling
the
concept.
way that we can monitor that there's a lot of things going on. And just the
Right.
fact that
Wow.
someone can see a safety issue and report it, and we can all sit in the shop floor and think about how to solve it, that is a big
Before it
indicator that
happens.
we are moving forward. There's a
Wow,
lot of tickets.
beautiful. Okay, Phil.
Cool. I've lost a little bit of what the question was about, but KPIs around, the improvement is, I think we just sort of look really at the, like our improvement chat channel. We're a small team, so we don't have too many metrics around what we do. But again, it comes down to, it's like a fitness thing. You've just got to do it every day, and building that muscle and the habit and the kata that every day that we're doing, small improvements. And then once you've got that routine built, you can start refining the people towards, hey, this is our actual goal. These are the improvements we got. Which one of these improvements, we've got 3 to do. Here's our goal. Which one of these 3 are going to get us closer to our goal? But I think in the early days, it's just, let's just build that kata, get some improvements going, and then we start working with the people. Well, actually, this is where our company's goals are, and this is our vision at the moment. We've got 3 of these suggestions from you. Which one of these 3 do you think will help us get closer to the goal? Let's do that one first.
Very good, Jack.
We don't focus on metrics too much. Probably only we're tracking defects in the morning meeting, and then on a couple of products we have tack time. So say if it's a minute per build, once we implement an improvement in that build cell, we'll highlight it. So then after that, we can track if the time of the build is quicker, but that's only on about 5% of our products. So the day-to-day improvement, not tracking any metrics, just whether there's flow.
Richard, next question.
Okay, next question is from our friend Pablo in Argentina. We are growing a lot in our company. We are training our new team members. What is the best way, according to your experience, to encourage them to propose improvements on a daily basis?
I think it's really with the new ones is just actually is coaching with them and just helping them and just sort of say, hey, is there anything you're struggling with? Because I think some people really struggle to see the wood for the trees, and everyone's looking out, so they're not seeing their own struggles. They're working on what they're doing, and so you also need to observe some of their struggles and say, hey, I noticed it took you a little bit longer to do that. Was there anything that was difficult? So I think just working alongside them.
Okay, Alex?
Well, you taught me the 3 points is set the expectation, follow up, and most important is celebrate. So when you see someone doing something in public at the morning meeting, celebrate that person doing that improvement. I do it with videos. So when I have all the improvements and I expose the videos of the improvements of the day, it really brings people wanting to come out and do improvements. They want to be in part of that video. They want to be part of that celebration.
So let me interject there on Alex, so everybody knows what Alex did. Alex started something so phenomenal. Every day, he would go around and find all the improvements, and he would make, it would took you 45 minutes, a half hour, an hour every day, Alex?
I got it down to 15 minutes now.
Okay, so he would make a video every day of all the improvements that are going on in his facility, and then that would be played in the morning meeting the next day, Alex, is that correct?
That's correct. That's
And
correct.
so we talked about set an expectation, we need improvements, inspect the expectation, he went and saw the improvements were being made, and then he celebrated it every morning in the morning meeting. Phenomenal example, and I can't even tell you how many companies around the world have followed your example, Alex. Great answer. Jack, I think you're next, and then Bernard.
Yeah, could I have the question again? Sorry.
Yes,
problem.
certainly. This is from Pablo, and he said, we are growing a lot in our company, and we are training our new team members. These are new people. What is the best way, according to your experience, to encourage them to propose improvements every day?
I think if you've started to train them, the first thing you need to do is ask them questions. You need to know what they're thinking, what bugs you, and see how much they're understanding of your teachings, and then you can start from that. So start with to them.
Get inside their head. Good answer, Bernard.
I love that. Yeah, and that's good. So a few things. One is just keep repeating Paul's mantra, which is, fix what bugs you and remove the struggle. And you ask, you can go on the shop floor with them and say, hey, tell me show me where some struggle or where you're bending over or you're having, you can't push the broom through properly or you can't clean up or sweep properly. There's your opportunity to improve straight away. And just keep asking questions, because remember, here's a really key leadership tip is lead with questions, not answers. So many of us in our businesses are so quick to answer. We've got all the answers, or we think we do, but we're actually dopes because we're talking too much. Lead with questions. It's really hard for me because I'm so and what's the word? I don't know, spontaneous, and I'll whack myself, I'll hit myself, say no, I'm not. So I've had to really train that muscle to stop and listen and ask questions. Lead with questions.
Yeah,
get them to come up with a solution, but also get them on the group chat straight away, because then they can see improvement all around them. And make sure you as a leader, I'm on this group chat all day long, and every time an improvement comes in, I'm banging a voice note on there. It doesn't matter where I am in the world. I'm like, hey, good job, Pete. That was amazing. What a great improvement. I love the way you did this. And we've seen Paul, how Paul leads like this. We see how people lead like this. Then make it easy to improve as well. We have lean caves everywhere, so where people can go and try little things, and it's got the tools they need to make the improvements. And then another thing we've launched recently is improvement cards, so that if they can't make the improvement on the spot because of the flow of the factory, they can at least write it down and capture it, and it comes up in the morning meeting the next day. So, and like Alex was saying, celebrate every damn improvement and put together a compilation video. We do this so that every day our whole group chat gets pulled into a compilation video, goes on YouTube, and it's played in every morning meeting around the business, so that if people haven't been on the chat much during the day before, they don't miss it. They all have to focus on that video, watch that compilation, and celebrate those improvements together. So, of course, the Lean All-Stars are getting lots of recognition around the business, so everyone wants to be part of that buzz.
Phenomenal.
Bernard, 60 seconds in New Zealand must be about 5 minutes. That's why.
Sorry.
It's all working, man. Richard.
Sorry, Paul.
Great.
Sorry, Richard.
All right, next question.
Think about how many questions we've answered so far, and the diversity of the answers in 30 minutes. Pretty impressive. Go ahead.
It's great. We got 45 minutes in, so we got another 10 minutes, and then we'll wrap it up with 5 minutes to go. So this is from Victor. My biggest takeaway from 2 Second Lean is that we tried to improve processes and quickly found that not everyone in our team actually knew what we thought they knew. Has this happened to anyone? And what did you do to train everyone in a way that preserves the culture of 2 Second Lean, and at the same time bring everyone to more competency and understanding of the business environment?
I don't know if I understand the question, Richard. Do you get it?
All right. So it's obvious that some of the people within that company didn't really understand the process that they were trying to improve. So he's asking, Victor's asking, has any of you experienced this in your company where you've asked them to improve processes, but they didn't realize what you thought they knew? They didn't know what you thought they knew.
I'm not gonna go to everybody. Anybody have an answer? Think they can give Victor
Yeah.
help there? Go ahead.
I think I learned a big lesson is the Socrates method I was not aware of, and you really need to practice on keeping your mouth shut. And me being considered a so expert in Valorec and a technical division, I thought I knew with my team what was the best practices and very technical. We don't know, experts, we don't know. We need to let the person that is doing the work figure out how to do it better, because they are a day in and day out with that. And if you just stop and listen what they have to say, you'd be amazed at the new improvements they can come up with. And don't let the so-called engineers get in the way. The people on the shop floor are super smart. They know what they need. They just need to break that bubble to get out and say, I got an idea. I need just some help to weld, to do electric, to do programming. That's all they need.
Does anybody else have an answer for Victor?
Yeah, what I've done, so sometimes I think one of the challenges, if I understand the question sort of correctly, is that we're at a certain point in the business and we think the people have this knowledge that they don't actually have, and then we've got to bring this to the surface, and this is wherein lies that our egos get in the way, and we need to find a safe way to do that. And so what I've been doing is we wanting to grow our business, so let's think about the new person. So how are we going to explain this to the new person who doesn't come along? And so we're not saying to the people that, you know, oh, you haven't got the knowledge that we expected. We're actually helping them to show respect for the next person coming along.
Beautiful.
And so you're turning that around into a teaching and a training. It's taken me a long time to come to that sort of arrangement, but that's what seems to be working for me at the moment.
Okay, good. Anybody else? Jack,
I was just going to say, keep it really simple. Like we started off with just things like, you know, hanging up hanging up the tools. And so, yes, you'll get lots of mistakes, but I always say it's better because the 2-second lean methodology allows people to make mistakes that don't cost you $10,000, you know, so it's brilliant because they're not making expensive mistakes. But if you don't let them make those mistakes, hang the broom in the wrong place, hang the shovel in the wrong place, you know, put their tools in the wrong place, they're never going to learn if you keep interfering and keep getting in the way. But you can then ask them, hey, do you think this is, you know, have you saved any steps? Have you saved any motion? What have you saved with this improvement? Ask them again, lead with questions, not answers, and they'll realize if it's a bit of a stuff up, they're going to realize pretty quick if you ask some good questions that, oh, actually, you know, perhaps it would have been better over here. I'm going to do that later, or I'm going to do that tomorrow. That's my improvement for tomorrow. And they just gradually, the old the clouds start to lift.
Yeah, it's interesting, this one. Mark Warren, we all know Mark, deep historian on TWI and lean. And Mark says he sees this all the time when people are making job breakdowns on processes. They don't know what they don't know. So it's really, really interesting. That's a great question. Okay, next one is from
focus on process as lean thinkers, because the process is so important to deeply understand. Jack, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I think you need to allow people to fail, but if they don't fully understand the process, they could still see the waste. So just make sure you're teaching them to see the waste properly, and then I think find the balance.
Okay, good. All right, next question. Or Richard, where are we time-wise? We're getting pretty close, aren't we?
Yeah, we're getting close. We've got 10 minutes and we'll cut it off at 5 minutes too. So this is from Carlos in Athena, Austin, Texas, Athena Manufacturing. How do you keep the rope tight and have people follow the new standards that are implemented so things do not revert back to old ways? What are some ways to get everyone involved in maintaining the standards?
Okay, Jack, go.
Training, repetition, every single day for every single process. You can't.
Okay, good. Bill, rapid fire.
Yeah, I think you just need some sort of means to just circle back and just to check that you've got that wedge in place and that you're doing it. I think we often put something in place and then forget about it, and then you look back at history and it's got there. So we haven't had a means of circling back, whether it be on a monthly basis. Hey, here was something we did last month. Are we still on track and that side of things?
Okay.
Yeah,
Alex?
your routines. Don't ever miss your routines. Keep doing your routines. And if you agree with something, let's say there's trash in the floor and you're walking by, as an example, if you just walk by and don't pick it up, then that's your standard. You're accepting that standard, and you need to say no, go pick it up. Talk to people when there's something out of order. Discuss, ask the questions to challenge, to keep everything in line. You gotta be in the shop floor.
Excellent. Bernard?
Just quickly give me that question, Richard. I just missed half of it.
Okay, how do you keep the rope tight and have people follow the new standards that are implemented so things don't revert back to the old ways? What are some ways to get everyone involved in maintaining the new standards?
Yeah, it's good. You guys have covered it, but some things to write down would be, the standard you walk past is the standard you accept. So as soon as they see you allow for sloppiness, it's just gonna gonna creep in all over
Bernard,
the business.
say it again. It's so powerful. Say it again. What did you say?
The standard you walk past is the standard you accept.
Yep.
And you deserve what you tolerate. So if you're tolerating something, you deserve it. So it's all about leadership. Everything we've been talking about today is about leadership. So that one's a real key one. Keeping the rope tight is so hard for a leader, but if you just don't give up, don't give up. Another thing I do, if I go into the bathroom and I find something not quite right, I'll pull out my phone straight away and I'll video it straight onto our group chat. So 75 people are seeing that. They're going, I'm saying, hey, I'm at the head office bathroom, in the male's bathroom, obviously. And otherwise I'd be arrested. And look at this. This is not, how does this line up with our values? Guys, we've got to keep the rope tight. We can do better than this. This is not respect for people. This is not a deep respect for resources. Get it together. And you put it straight on the chat. And then I encourage my leadership team to do the same, because things like that, you've got to pull that rope tight all the time.
Okay. So we have 3 minutes. Richard, let's see if we can do one question, 3 minutes, 4 people. Go.
Okay, this is from Leonidas, one of our former 2 Second Lean tour hosts.
Greece.
Do you believe it is better to move your office on the shop floor or to apply scheduled Gemba walks? I moved my office on the shop, but I do not believe it works fine. Okay.
Jack?
I haven't moved my office, but I'm trying to not be in the office, so I'm Gemba walk, non-stop. So
Okay, Phil?
Yeah, I had to go all in. I tried doing it partially, it didn't work, so I moved my whole office. There's a few challenges, but just go all in.
Okay, Alex?
As Chuck Cacciarelli taught me, he says the further away you're from the shop floor, the worse the decisions are going to be. So if you cannot physically, because whatever reason,
The worst
try to be
of
next
the worst
door.
of what?
The farthest away you are from the shop floor taking these decisions, the worse the decisions are going to be.
Oh, gosh.
So if you could
That's a
be
good
as
one.
close, like for example, my office should be 25 miles away in a corporate office downtown. I'm not physically in the shop, but I'm probably 20 meters away in an office. So
it
at least
reminds me
I'm in the area.
of Boeing moving the corporate office from Seattle to Chicago.
Bad move.
Okay. We don't need to say any more than that. Bernard?
No, you've covered it. That's good. You guys have done it.
Okay. Wow. It's 4 a.m. for me and I'm energized. What the hell?
Hey, can we give Paul a big clap for being up at 3 a.m. or 2:30 a.m.?
Hit the onsen, Paul. Hit the onsen.
So much fun. And
You're an inspiration.
This is incredible. By the way, Ryan just apologized. He's driving to the airport. He was going to be with us, but we're going to have Ryan with us next month.
Yeah, we'll have Ryan next time.
Next month, no problem. Team,
What a diverse group we had
that
here.
last question reminded me that somebody was sitting in front of 12 corporate leaders of a huge organization, and they said, what have we got to do to implement this across our whole organization? And this person told them, you've got to get off your asses from there and go down on the shop floor where it all works.
Yeah,
So
beautiful.
That's the truth of everything. Go to
Okay.
Gemba, stay in the Gemba, and learn from the people who do the job and add the value every day. They're the ones who actually make the money for you, and you are
Okay.
servant leaders. So you got to
All
make
right.
their life as easy as possible, right?
Love it.
End of story.
Amazing.
This
And
is
so again, hey, we
incredible.
want to give a big round of applause for Richard for always putting this together.
Yeah,
Richard,
Richard, absolutely.
hard work here all the time, and for Bernard's vision to do this, and all of you to show up and make this happen. Just amazing. It's a great
Yeah,
thing.
and you know, we had 72 people right at the beginning listening to us, and we got 73 right now. So not one person left.
Magic.
It was incredible.
Right on,
Thank
right
you,
on.
everybody. Thank you, leaders.
Thanks.
You're incredible. Alex, Bernard, Paul, we'll see you next month. Phil and Jack, thank you again. Your knowledge and sharing is just incredible. AME, share, learn, and grow. That's what we do.
All right.
We'll see you all next
It's been a
month,
pleasure.
guys.
And
Yeah.
thanks to all our audience. Appreciate the audience and the great
All you
questions.
guys for tuning
You're
in.
amazing.
Awesome. Amazing.
Yep,
You're
for sure.
amazing.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks a lot.
Bye now.
Thanks. Have a good one.
See ya.